agency, who is currently organizing, as you know, the 2021 edition of the BSBF. As you surely know, the current situation derived from the COVID-19 made it impossible for us to celebrate the BSBF in 2020 as foreseen in this week of October. So we moved it to the week of September 28 in 2021. We moved it 1 year. We hope that the situation will be much better next year. In this context, we thought it was a good idea to organize a series of webinars which could be of help to European industry of science, providing advanced information on the opportunities offered by the big science facilities. And precisely in this webinar, we have organized an agenda which is focused, as you have seen, in strategic plans, 2021 May procurements, and the flagship programs of some of the most important big science facilities in Europe. I do hope that you find this webinar interesting for you and for your business. And I wouldn't like to take much more of your time. And before I hand over to the speakers, just a practical plea for you that for your queries, please use the questions and answers tool available in Zoom. Don't use the chat, because we will use the questions and answers to seek for the questions of the audience, and we will have like 5 minutes after each intervention to try to reply just at least a few questions there. So also during this event, we will use Slido to propose some questions for you. So I would like to also encourage you to use this tool, so it will help us in evaluating the interest of this webinar, and also help us in preparing new editions, new webinars for the BSBF. So thank you very much. And without further ado, I hand over to my colleague, Jorge Lopez, who will conduct the meeting from now on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roberto. Thank you very much. First, I would like to thank you, all the speakers, for being available today and tomorrow for this webinar, and all the audience that we are having now. So it's a really an example that it's a great interest to have all the big science organizations with us telling the strategic plans, procurements, and flagship projects. As Roberto said, we have an agenda. We have a last-minute change in the agenda. We incorporate also Ángel Ibarra from CIEMAT, which is going to talk about IFMIF dones. I hope this also will be interesting for you. And that's why the time of the day is going to extend up to 12:30. Okay. First of all, I would like to break the ice with some easy questions for the audience, and then we will also learn how to use the Slido application. So Virginia now is going to share with you slides in which you see a Slido QR. Please take your mobile, search the QR, or in your browser of your computer, or in your mobile, type slido.com. When you enter in slido.com, you will be asked to enter a hashtag word or password. You enter and you type BSBF, and then you will be included in the questions. In the pool that we have organized for the webinar. So please do it, because we are going to have a couple of questions easy ones, just to wake you up. So please do it. And the first question is very easy one. Huh? Where do you come from? Only one answer is possible, and this is to show us the diversity of our audience. And you will have a limited time, so go ahead. Don't miss your opportunity to show your nationality. We have Tenerife, we have Germany, Sweden, Spain, Germany, UK, Zaragoza, very, very nice place. Estonia, the Netherlands, Belgium, Poland, very nice. Very nice. So this is, as you see, this is a very sexy way of having feedback from you. The next question is also a very easy one. What type of organization do you belong to? You can be from industry, from research infrastructures, you could be an ILO, you could be a research institution, or you could be other. Okay, so choose your affiliation. It's true that we expect more audience from industry, which is the case, as you can see in the graphs. But we also have with us a lot of ILOs, research infrastructures. So this is great. Huh? This is shaping us the audience type. Another one is also a very easy one, is if you are in industry, you are a big company, you are a supplier company, or SME. This doesn't mean that it's only a question of the size of your company. If you are more a company devoted to prime contractor responsibilities, you are SME, or you are more a supplier company that works under the big companies. So we have a lot of SMEs and also a lot of big companies. So this is very good for us to shape you. So thank you very much. So it was very funny, and it was a very interactive way of having you awake for the webinar. And after this, we'll pass for the next speaker, which is myself, by the way. And I am going to talk about BSBF 2020 organization update. After this presentation, we will do some 3 or 4 more questions using the slide. So don't close your window on Slido or your mobile on Slido. Okay, so let's share my presentation. Okay, I guess you can see it very well. So BSBF, maybe some of you don't know anything about BSBF, maybe some of you know a lot about BSBF. I will make a quick introduction, then I will go on the updates we have in front of us or the recent changes. And the last part of my presentation will be very quick to go through the things that you can find on the web, but maybe it is necessary to have been pointed out. BSBF is a business-oriented congress focused on technology, and I'm to meet research infrastructures and industry. So it's really a place in which industry from one side and research institutions from other side can meet, talk, and make business. Very easy. It is the place in which research institutions can show their opportunities, their new projects, their developments in technologies and in facilities, and then industry is aware of that and can help them with all of this, and can be ready for the new procurements and new opportunities that will come. We are in 2021, we are going to make the second edition of BSBF after the great success of our colleagues from Denmark. In 2018, the first BSBF was in Copenhagen with 500 participants from 29 countries. We expect to have about the double of participants. Let our fingers cross. We expect the double or even more, and the market that we have in front of us from the period ahead is of a size of 38,400. So it's a big market for big science market, and I think this is why it's so attractive for industry and so attractive for research infrastructures in Europe. Okay, who are behind the BSBF? The BSBF is an initiative of some big science organizations: CERN, ESS, European XFEL, ESO, EILL, FAIR, Fusion for Energy, ESRF, EMBL, ESA, and SKAO. So as you see, we are 11 big science organizations around Europe from different fields, and they join together to organize this BSBF. CDTI is the hosted and the local organization, and together with the ILOs of some countries, and also the collaboration of PERIA. CDTI, as you know, is the Spanish Innovation Agency and ILO of many European big science organizations. We do belong, CDTI, to the Ministry of Science and Innovation. But for the BSBF purposes, we report to the International Organization Committee, which is composed by the mentioned big science organizations. Where is going to happen BSBF 2021 and when? It's going to happen from 28th of September to the 1st of October, and it's going to take place in Granada. Let's also cross our fingers to have this BSBF with full normality, and that we could meet each other physically in Granada. Why in Granada? Granada is one of the most scientific-oriented cities in Spain, and it's only the single European candidate for hosting IFMIF Dones, which is a key milestone, a necessary milestone for fusion, as you know. Also, Granada is a cultural city in Spain with great architectural patrimonies and also an extraordinary cultural life. So I'm pretty sure you will enjoy all Granada on that week. The venue is going to be the Palacio de Congresos in Granada, and you have there the link to have a look at the Palacio de Congresos. Okay, let's go to the quick status of the last minute preparation of the BSBF. We have consolidated the program. It's confirmed with a big coverage of science and big science technologies. The registration status is 157 participants, is confirmed and paid, and we are still 1 year ahead of the celebration, so no problem. We have produced more than 50 news on our web related to the BSBF and the big science organization news. Our calendar has been updated due to the delay of the BSBF. The new dates are 28th of September till 1st of October, And very important, the early bird deadline is 30th of April. Take note of that. We are counting with 21 SMEs selected by PERIA, and the list has been updated, and its company details are on the web and on the social media. We have a module for technology transfer, and we have at the moment 30 proposals on the web. You can have a look at them, and more are coming. We have a new BSBF webinar webpage in which all the webinars that we are organizing from now on, from mid this year to the celebration of the BSBF in 2021. We have all the webinars that we are going to organize, and all the information is going to be in that particular web with program, registration, agendas, presentation, and the records of the webinar. So have a look with all the, to know all the details. We have updated plenary and parallel sessions with full speakers, details, photo, pictures, additional position, and short CV. Also, we have a specific portal for exhibition companies. All the companies sign up that has signed up an exhibition space. They have a place there to register themselves and to show their company and their products. So this is a very good visibility for companies renting an exhibition space. The B2B meetings are ready, tested, and prepared. Of course, they are not yet open, but you will have the possibility to have them. We already have a app BSBF2020 available for mobile phones, and it's on the web and on the markets. Okay, you can please download it. It's for sure it's free, and it will be very useful to have latest news and to use it during the BSBF. We also have satellite meetings in the BSBF with parallel events. We have an ILOP meeting with PERIA Grant General Assembly. We have an Enrich event, and also we have a session devoted to women in science. The current status of exhibition, we have 99 exhibitors with place reserved and paid. And we have 122 booths available. So there are only 25 stands available. So hurry up, go to the web and book your exhibition stand, because we are really in the last run of getting out of stands available for the exhibition. Regarding sponsorship, we have the lucky to have with us 8 sponsors supporting us. Thank you very much to them, but we still have room for additional sponsors. Go ahead in the web and find the sponsors packages and possibilities and contact us through the web. Of course, due to the COVID situation, we are going to produce a safety and security plan, and will be elaborated in line with the requirements derived from the COVID, and will be put in place if necessary for the BSBF. And also we modified the return fees conditions due to the pandemic, and everyone is allowed to up to certain dates to refund, to ask for refunding of exhibition, sponsorship, or participation. But up to now, only a very few people did it. Okay, very quick on some more slides. COVID, as you know, didn't allow to celebrate BSBF 2020 in the way it was foreseen. Therefore, we moved BSBF to 2021. The new date is the one I said, from 28th of September till 1st of October in Granada. The payments of booths and tickets will be offered to be reimbursed, as I said. And very important, the program is for BSBF 2021 is going to be the same as it was for BSBF 2020. So it's only a translation of dates. That's all. Okay. Okay, that's it. Okay. Meanwhile, and because we have one more year, we are organizing BSBF Webinars. This is to keep up the BSBF trademark and the BSBF spirit alive, and also to have more, debates on the subjects interest for big science market. We already had one in June about COVID-19. Today starts the second one about big science organization strategic plans, procurements, and flagship projects. The next one, the third one, is going to happen in February, mid-February 2021. It's going to be devoted to big science technology transfer between research infrastructures and industry. And we will go in deep on the BSBF model of technology transfer track. How to participate, which benefits are you going to get, presenting proposals, so on and so forth. The fourth one and the fifth one webinar is still to be decided, but we expect to have it around mid-April or mid-June. So please be turned on the web that we have devoted to webinars, bsbf2020.org/webinars. And save the dates, please. Okay, important things that we have updated on the web. We have uploaded the Procurement Handbook. It is a very important document. Even you can click here, and you download the PDF. It's a full document in which all of these big science organizations have put the figures and the conditions on how they do business with industry, and which is the amount they foresee for the next period to have in opportunities or contracts open to industry. So please go ahead and go to this PDF and have a look. It's also available on our web. A special thanks to our sponsors. We only have to say that without them, we would not be where we are. We have one gold sponsor, ABS, Advanced Value Solutions, one silver sponsor, Cadinox, 4 bronze sponsors, ENSA, Universidad Politécnica de Madrid, Tesella, and ICTS. And also we have other sponsors sponsoring first the BSBF BAC, which is the Danish Technological Institute, and Caudal Company is going to sponsor one launch. This is a great success of sponsorship, but we still have room for additional sponsors. So if you are interested, go to the web, have a look of the possibilities, and contact us. Also, I mentioned that we have selected 11 SMEs for our SME Track. You have full details about what is the SME Track on the web, and these are the 11 companies all around Europe, as you can see, from 11 countries. And these are the selected SMEs that the PERIA selected for our BSBF webinar. BSBF in 2021. Also, we'd like to mention that we have selected what we call associated big science organizations. So they are selected for this edition of the BSBF because of their interest or because of the amount of procurements during the next year's period. So the invited associated big science organization in this edition up to now is MYRRHA, ESS Bilbao, LIPS, and EST. The four of them have a place in the parallelizations to show their opportunities and to their new expectations in the coming years. But I'm pretty sure more will come, because we are going to issue an additional open call for new associated big science organizations. And I think with this, I am going to conclude, just to say that we have a 4 days program. The first one is the day 0, when everything starts. Have a look. The second day is the day 1, in which we have an opening session, plenary session, 8 parallel sessions, extremely interesting ones, all devoted to technologies and interesting matters. We have a gala dinner, and in parallel, we have the exhibition, SMEs poster, B2Bs available for everyone that would like to join each other or interact with industry or with research institutions. And we have the technology transfer meetings with small meetings between the good proposals of technology transfer with the interested people in this particular technology. This will all run in parallel to the program. The day 2 is the 3rd day, in which we have a plenary session 2 devoted to meet the head of procurement of the big science organizations. We'll have a presentation by CDTI on how to do business with big science organizations, and then a round table with a moderator. You will be there, interact with the heads of procurement of the big science organization. Then we will continue again with the parallel sessions devoted to technology, and then the last parallel plenary session will be devoted to close the event and to make a wrap-up. Again, in parallel, exhibition, SME poster, B2Bs, and technology transfer meetings. And to conclude, the last day, Friday, is going to be devoted to technical visits to see 2 local ICTS, very interesting ones. One devoted to energy, Almería Solar Platform, and the other to astronomy, Calar Alto Observatory. Okay, this is the program of the parallel sessions. I am not going to go into detail, but they cover most of the interesting technologies of big science, and also additional ones such as SMEs, European Commission session, ABSOs session, one devoted to IFMIF donors, and one devoted to SMEs. You see, please surf on the web and look and assign yourself in the preferred parallel session, because no one can be at the same time in 4 places at the same time. So you have to split yourself or have or come with some colleagues. Okay, what's new on the BSBF? We have 2 big science organizations, which is FAIR and SKAO. FAIR is the antiproton and ion research in Europe, and SKAO is the Square Kilometer Array organization. Both are new in the BSBF, and they bring more opportunities and more interesting activities to do with them. As I said, we have new also the SME track, the technology transfer track, and also the session with procurement responsibles from big science organizations. Okay, the rest I'm going to be quick. These are the technologies we are going to cover. This is the social program. Don't miss it, because Granada is a beautiful place also to enjoy. What can you offer to your business? Go through it. How to participate, very important. Or a delegate as a participant on the web. The registration is open, of course. As an exhibitor, as I said, there is only 23 booths or spaces left. Go there, because if you don't go now, you could end up with no place available. And sponsorship. So you want to promote your company in a very visible position, contact us, and you could be a sponsor of BSBF. These are the fees. They are on the web. Have a look at them. This is the exhibition space in floor 1 with all the areas reserved for different things. In the ground floor, in the first floor, we have 7 spaces available. In the second one, we have 16. These are the sponsor packages, gold, silver, and bronze, with their cost and with their advantages. We also have some other sponsor packages. Have a look at them and contact us if you are interested. Okay, that's all for me. So please save the date for Big Science Business Forum 2021. We hope see you all there in Granada, having a great time and a great business time for you and for your company or for your research organization. Thank you very much. This concludes my presentation. I hope I am still on time, more or less. Yes, more or less. A little bit, but you know, I'm a guilty man. Now I would like to ask Virginia again to put the Slido slide, because again, please contact. Go to your browser in your mobile or in your PC. Type slido.com. Then, when the system asks you the hashtag, type BSBF, and then you will join us for the dual session, and then we will have a couple of questions that will help us to shape you a little bit. First question, very easy one. Where did you learn about BSBF 2021? From other source, big science organization, from ILOs, from the European Commission web, from PERIA, from the social media, from the BSBF webpage. So tell us, how did you learn about BSBF? What is true is that from now on, the place you should go to learn more about BSBF is BSBF webpage, which is BSBF2020 .org, okay? Or BSBF2021.org. Both are reserved for us. So thank you very much for the first question. The second one is, are you going to submit a technology proposal for the BSBF? Come on, don't panic. It's going to be easy. It's going to be a very good podium for showing your technology and your industry to the public. Okay, so I see a more positive response. So a lot of people to be decided. So this is a hope for us. So very good answer. The next one is, why would you recommend attempting BSBF 2021? This is an open question. You can type 2 or 3 words, and you can type as many times as you want. So please feel free to type 3 or 4 reasons you think is important on how to recommend attending BSBF. I see networking and business a very good candidates, business development, contact, even I see tapas somewhere. It's not a bad reason, I have to say, but networking is really, really the one that is really getting the best voting in this world of clouds, this words cloud. Okay, the next one. What are your expectations in 2 words for the BSBF 2021? So what do you expect for your institution or your company? Do you expect to make a lot of business, a lot of contacts, to meet our friends, to have fun? I think as the name of big
Jorge, we cannot hear you. Jorge?
Yes. Yes, Jorge, you are mute. You are mute, Jorge.
Jorge, we can't hear you.
You are mute, Jorge. No, more.
I think he has a problem.
Something happens, yes, it is not working properly.
Jorge? Jorge, we can't hear you.
Can we hear among ourselves, the panelists?
Yes, I do.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
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 I think
It is only.
Yes.
I think it's only Jorge.
Only him.
There are two parallel sessions. One is among ourselves, and another one is with everybody. With the
Yes.
True.
So I don't know what's happening here now.
Reyes, do you know what is happening?
No, Jorge is having problems with his audio.
He's not
both,
aware.
Entering audio or hearing us. Jorge, can you hear us?
But Anna
Okay,
Hall just
we
put
cannot hear you.
the
So
panelists
can you
can hear
please
us.
check your micro? We cannot hear you, Jorge.
What about now? Can
Now,
you hear me?
now
That's
we can
okay.
hear.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry for these technicalities. Please, all speakers, mute yourself. Thank you for letting me know that I was muted. It was not muted, it was my system. Sorry about that. So I was saying that we're going to enter in the big science organization part, and then every speaker is going to have,
Jorge,
if they would like, 50
Jorge, sorry.
minutes.
Sorry to interrupt you. There is a question about the presentations. Will the slides from today be available for attendees to take away? The webinar is being recorded and the recording and all the presentations are going to be available after the meeting. So you can download it through the BSBF webinar platform. Okay, sorry to interrupt you, Jorge.
No problem, Belén. But I mean, you have all of this information on the registration platform, and in this registration platform, it says that the presentations are going to be available on this registration platform, and also on the BSBF webinar webpage with a link. Okay, so don't panic. The presentation will be available, and the record of the webinar is going to be available. So our next block is going to be devoted to big science organizations. Each speaker will have 15 minutes plus 5 minutes questions and answers from the audience. I recall you, the audience, please interact with the speakers through the questions and answers module, not use the chat, okay? The questions and answers will be managed by Belén, which will read the questions to the speaker, and after that, the next speaker will pass. The speaker will pass me the floor, and I will pass the floor to the next speaker. Okay, so we have with us first Ángel Ibarra from CIEMAT. Ángel is going to talk about the latest news about IFMIF donors. That you know, it's a key facility for fusion, and Granada is the only candidate in Europe agreed. So we are all together with CIEMAT and Granada supporting IFMIF donors. Ángel, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Jorge. As Jorge just mentioned, my name is Ángel Ibarra. I am the head of Fusion Technologies division in the National Fusion Lab at the CIEMAT, and I am here representing the IFMIF Donors project. First of all, I must apologize because I did not prepare any slides to include in the agenda. This facility has been a last-minute decision, and I did not have time to prepare. In any case, I will try to explain to you a little bit more on what is the facility, why we think it is so important, and what is the present status on its development. At this moment, it has not been yet decided to go ahead with the construction with the facility. We are presently in the developing a number of activities with the target to be able to make a political decision as soon as possible. And I will explain also what is the status of this. So first of all, I want to explain a little bit more what is IFMIFDONES. IFMIFDONES is a new type of neutron source developed to mimic the environment in a fusion reactor. So that means that it is a facility that is designed mainly thinking on the needs and issues that we know will appear in the development of fusion as an energy source. But in any case, due to its uniqueness, it means that the facility will be also of interest for a number of other scientific and technological areas. And we are also working and we are developing the design of the facility in such a way that these other users can be also involved in the use of the facility and in the exploitation of the facility. The facility is based on a high power, high intensity, low energy deuterium accelerator hitting on a lithium target. The accelerator that we are designing is an accelerator able to manage with a power of 5 megawatt of power. Is one of the biggest powers in the world today, and but the energy of the deuterons is relatively low. It's only 40 MeV. So that means that the current in the accelerator is over 120 milliamps, and this is at least one order of magnitude higher than the previous generation of accelerators of this type. This, as I mentioned, these deuterons hit on a lithium target, and to be able to manage the high power deposition that takes place there, the lithium is in liquid state, and then we have a lithium loop to manage the heat generated. In this lithium, it is generated a huge amount of neutrons. We are talking about 10 to 18 neutrons per second. And then the samples or the materials or the experiments to be made can be located just in the back of this lithium target, and then we are able to reach damage levels much higher than in other facilities. The key technologies that needs to be developed for the construction of this facility are those related with accelerator, because we must be able to run this very high current, and we must be able to run this in continuous wave and with a very high availability. So that means that we must develop, in some cases, new technologies for some of the accelerator components. The key technologies are in all the aspects related with the lithium management. You know that lithium is a liquid metal that does not like to match water, even air, and then all the management of the lithium must be made under very controlled conditions, and this is something that requires a significant technology development. And then the other aspect that requires also some technologies development are all the aspects related with what we call irradiation modules, the place where we locate the samples, and how we manage and control the experiments. Each experiment that will take place here, at least the ones for fusion, will take 1 or 2 years. So it will not be 1 week experiments, but they will be very long experiments. And to assure that the experiment will run without problems, with high reliability during all this time, requires a lot of work of development of different control technologies. Finally, the other aspect that is very important from the technological point of view on this facility is all the remote handling. Of course, due to the presence of neutrons, there is a lot of activation, especially in the area in which we have located the samples. And that means that the maintenance activities in the core of the facility must be made by remote handling, all of them. So all the developments, and there are a lot of activities to be developed, I would say. So all the technologies required for development these remote handling activities are also of key relevance for the facility. The design and the prototyping of many components of this facility has been developed since many years ago. I mean, the idea of this type of facility is quite old. It takes time to develop it and to find the money to build it in the fusion environment. But in the last, I would say, in the last 10 years, it has been developed a number of prototypes, mainly in the framework of the broader approach agreement between Europe and Japan. It has been developed a number of prototypes for some key components of this facility, mainly maybe the more relevant ones are lithium loop scale 1:1 or close to 1:1, and a prototype of the low energy part of the accelerator that is now being built in Japan with most of the components manufactured in Europe. Up to now, these prototypes produce positive results. We still do not have all the outputs, but for example, very recently, the accelerator being developed in Japan demonstrated for the first time the transmission with more than 90% of efficiency of a beam of 120 milliamps through the RFQ, that is one of the key components of this accelerator. There is still more work to be made, but up to now, all the results that has been obtained in the different validation activities are positive, and it seems that the design that we have is feasible. The engineering design of the facility is being developed in detail in Europe in the framework of the Eurofusion Consortium activities, and from the technical point of view, we are close to be ready to start the construction of the facility as soon as the political decision is taken. This facility, the development of the facility, has been included as a key element of the European Fusion Roadmap, the version that was issued 1 year ago, more or less, and it has been understood that this facility is in the critical path for the construction of a demonstration reactor, that it will be the next step after the ITER project that today is being built in France. The facility has been also included in the S3 roadmap because it has been identified that it will help significantly to the development of the European technologies and also the European capabilities. Today, as Jorge just mentioned a few minutes ago, it has been proposed that the facility will be built in Granada. The agreement that we have today is that if the facility finally is built in Europe, it will be built in Granada. So the site that has been selected is a already available site in a village that is called Escúzar, around 15 kilometers from the Granada city. presently, the key word that is being developed is what we call the preparatory phase. This is an activity that is funded by Eurofusion in the framework or with the rules, if you want, of the S3 facilities. The main objective of this work is to develop the international agreement to make the decision to go ahead with the facility. In this project or in these activities are collaborating, of course, Spain, but also Croatia very significantly, also Fusion for Energy and Eurofusion, and a number of other 10 or 11 countries, France or institutions from France, from Italy, from Germany, from Belgium, from UK, from Hungary, and from Poland are involved in the discussions today. In this framework, we are discussing what kind of organization we can build or we can prepare for the construction of this facility, what can be or what will be the contributions of each one of the possible partners. Sorry, Japan is also involved in these discussions, or at least slightly involved in these discussions. So as I mentioned, we are discussing what can be the contributions of the different countries, what can be the organization that will run the project. And also we are discussing aspects related, of course, with safety and environmental licensing that is required. We are working on this. And also a number of, I would say, strategic decisions that can be taken later on. I mean, the design work that has been developed up to now is what we call the baseline design. That is the minimum that is needed to be sure that the facility can run and can be operated. But during the technical work that it has been developed, we have identified some new ideas that can be implemented if there is agreement from the management. And we are trying to further consolidate these ideas to analyze if they are interested or not. So our target today is that all these discussions will be finished during 21, in 1 year from now, more or less. And we still believe that the project can be officially started at the end of 21, more or less. In the meantime, there are, in any case, a number of activities being developed. The first one, very relevant from our point of view, from the political point of view, is that the Spanish government has decided that the Spanish contributions to this facility will be managed through a specific organization. It is a consortium agreement, a consortium agreement between the regional and the national government. And this new institution has been approved and it is being prepared, and it will be, hopefully it will be running during this year, before the end of this year. The main advantage of this kind of institutions, and maybe some of the speakers later on can confirm, is that these kind of institutions can have some more flexibility than research institutions like CIEMAT. But also we are developing a number of activities. We are trying to develop a detailed site characterization to be able to go into the detailed engineering design of some of the buildings and the site characteristics. And we are also planning to start the construction of some auxiliary buildings on the site. So the planning today is that early next year, or maybe even end of this year, a number of calls will be made for some contracts for the construction, first for the site characterization, for some site characterization, for the construction of some auxiliary buildings, and for the construction also of some specific facilities inside these buildings that we are going to build. We are planning to develop a number of, let's say, medium-sized facilities, like a specific lab for lithium technologies, a specific lab for high power radio frequency applications.
Angel, you have 1 minute left, okay?
Yes, I am close to the end. And we are also planning some significant contract, or significant from my point of view, of course, for engineering services that in total, all these contracts maybe will go up to a budget of around 20 or 25 millions. And that's all. This is the present situation.
Thank you very much, Angel. Thank you for being on time, and also for giving this very last number, very attractive, for if everything goes fine and as planned, next year maybe some calls will be issued with a estimated number of 21 million euros. This is a very great news. So now we go through the questions and answers. Belén is going to take over. I don't know if we have more any answer. Belén?
Yes, we have a question. When are we awaiting a decision around starting building dones? When is it realistic that we start to build? Angel,
yes,
the floor is yours.
Yes. I think, okay, it is very difficult to make predictions because, you know, when we go to the political level, sometimes things are very fast, sometimes things are more slowly. But we believe that at the end of the next year, we can have a formal decision at the international level, I would say. So this is our target, and at this moment, it seems still feasible. Mm-hmm. This is the first answer. And for the second, of course, it depends what means start to build, how much money we are talking about. We are, as I mentioned just before, we are planning some small activities or relatively small activities even next year. We are trying to start the construction of these auxiliary buildings and some labs, but also we are planning to start something like a project team during the next year. So we will use some engineering services to build this to the early phases of this engineering team. But of course, before being able to launch a big contract, the first big contract will be the construction of the building. That this will be maybe a contract of I don't know, maybe 100 million or something like this. And then before being able to do this, we need to develop a number of engineering work still in quite detail. And also we think that we must wait to get some additional results from the Japanese experiments. So at this moment, my target is that this contract for the big building can go out maybe end of 22, beginning of 23.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. I think there are no more questions. Anyway, BSBF will be a unique opportunity to know more about donors.
At the time of BSBF, we should have a very clear view of if things are going as planned or there are additional delays.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much. So Jorge, no more questions. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Belén. Thank you, Angel, for your speech and for your availability. Some people ask why not to provide some slices. Some slices related to this will be part of the presentation of Fusion for Energy tomorrow. So you will have them there. Thank you, Angel.
In any case, Jorge, let me say, we have a web page that is ifmipdones.com, I think, and there are some slides about the project there. You can take a look there and you can find there some slides.
Very well, perfect. What we will do, Angel, is because you don't have dedicated presentation on our web, we'll put a link to your web page instead of link to a presentation, and then people could get more information. Very well.
Perfect.
Our next speaker is gonna, if there is no more questions from Belén,
Yes, there is one more question. Sorry,
Last one?
it's just arriving. Yeah, last one. How much or what percentage of the total budget is already committed by present agreements, Angel?
I mean, there are no agreements until the last agreement is made, because let's say all the things needs to be fixed more or less in the last moment. Today, there are strong commitments from Spain, that is more than half of the budget of the construction of the facility. There is a strong commitments from Croatia of about 5% of the construction budget. And there are also some commitments, or I don't want to say commitments, some planning in fusion for energy. For the others, we are still discussing. We have preliminary agreements, but none of them will be, we cannot use the word commitments until the last agreement is made, I would say.
Okay, okay, understood. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you very much. Okay, let's pass quickly to our next speaker. We have with us today Jerome Pirlot from CERN. He's going to give us the presentation on strategic plans, 2021 procurements and flagship projects at CERN. Thank you very much, Jerome, for being with us. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jorge. Can you please confirm that you all see my screen? Okay.
Yes, we see your screen perfectly. Go ahead. You have 15 minutes.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Jérôme Pirlot, and I'm in charge of the procurement for Accelerator and technology at CERN. I will be presenting today several examples of challenging upcoming tenders at CERN. It's of course just a small selection of all what we have in stock, and the full list can be consulted on the CERN procurement webpage. In all the slides, you will be able to find the same kind of information: the title, which will give you an idea of the scope of the supply, the market survey reference, which is a unique number. This unique number has to be reminded in all communication with the procurement officer. It's the only mean we have to quickly identifying the tender you are referring to when you are contacting us. Then you will find the procurement code. The procurement code is an 8-digit code, part of our internal classification system. When the companies are registering in our database, they will be asked to select the procurement codes corresponding to the activity of their company. Later on, when the procurement process will start, one of the first steps will be to match the companies that we have in our database with the procurement code for this tender. Then you will be given information about the planning, if the market survey is already sent or if it is in presentation, and the expected date of dispatch of the proper invitation to tender. The cost range of the contract, this is our own estimation of the contract. If it's a cost range A, we expect the adjudication to be below 750,000 Swiss francs. If it's a cost range B, the adjudication is expected to be between 750,000 Swiss francs and 5 millions. Cost range C is between 5 and 10 millions, and cost range D is exceeding 10 million Swiss francs. Then you will have a brief description and specific conditions. Is it a supply contract or a service contract? Do we intend to split? Is it blanket or regular contract? And some technical details about the supply. And finally, you will see in the upper right corner the technical contact details. And you are, of course, allowed to contact this person and to refer to this presentation. So the first tender concerned the supply and installation of cooling system on the CERN site. The cost range is B. The market survey has already been sent, but is still open. So any companies interested in this can, of course, send their application to the market survey. There will be 4 invitations to tender dispatched over a period of 1 year. And the market survey will result in the adjudication of 4 contracts. 2 contracts will be more like turnkey contracts for a cooling system in point 1 and 5 of the LHC. And another 2 contracts will be blanket contracts to cover the daily activities on the CERN sites. The second tender is exactly the same, but for ventilation systems. So again, here it's a framework market survey that has been sent. The cost range is B, and the invitation to tender will be dispatched over a period of 1 year, starting December 2020. Again, we will have 2 turnkey contracts for the ventilation system of the point 1 and 5 in the framework of the high luminosity project, and 2 blanket contracts for the to cover the running current activities on the various CERN sites. The third tender is the construction of an electrical substation at CERN for the Large Hadron Collider. So the cost range is A and C because we will split this tender in 2. We will first dispatch a price inquiry for the design and detailed files and component specification for the substation. We will take all those documents and we will use them to write the proper market survey and invitation to tender for the turnkey contract of the substation. So basically we will have a feeding line 66 kilovolt, a transformer 38 MVA, which will reduce the voltage to 80 kV, and then we will feed our distribution network for the accelerator. One particularity of this is that the company that will apply and win the design phase will not be allowed to participate to the turnkey contract. For information, CERN has one of the most important private network, electrical network in Europe with more than 500 MVA of installed power. The next tender concerned the supply of 5 helium vessels for the inner triplet magnets. The market survey will be dispatched in February 2021 and the invitation to tender in June 2021. The cost range is A. The difficulty in this is that all the activity will have to respect the pressure equipment directive. Except for that, it's metal sheet work and welding. As you can see here, this is the helium vessel in cyan. The magnet will be cryostatic in the helium vessels. Then flange will be fixed on each side, and the superfluid helium will cool down the magnets. The final assembly will be performed at CERN, and the diameter of the vessel will be 0.3 meters. The next one is the supply of 5 vacuum vessels. It is directly linked to the previous one, except that this one is simpler because there is no the pressure equipment directive to be applied. It's only metal sheet work. The difficulty here is that the machining of the flange here on both sides of the vessels has to be in one clamping operation. And as you can see here on the picture on the right side, you can see that the helium vessel will be inserted in the vacuum vessel. CERN will install a pumping system and will create a vacuum between the 2 envelopes, and this will act as a thermal barrier. The next tender concerns the supply of power converters for HL-LHC. So those power converters will field all the magnets that will be installed for the HL-LHC project. There, the technical decision has been taken to field all the magnets at a low voltage level, so 10 volts. There will be 4 types of current levels. The very high currents up to 18,000 amps, then up to 2,000 amps, 600 amps, and 120 and 60 amps. So this is why there is 2 costs, A and B. The higher current will be cost B, and the lower current will be cost A. Market survey will be dispatched in September 2021, and the and the invitation to tender will be dispatched in September 2022. The next example concerns the supply of circuit disconnector boxes. So it's a cost range A. The first price inquiry will be dispatched in December this year. It's for the procurement of disconnector boxes. You can see here that the current is directly linked to the current of the power converters, because this will be system that will cut the feeding line coming from the power converter to allow our technical colleagues to intervene safely on the magnets. After the price inquiry, we will dispatch an invitation to tender for earthing systems. We will then provide all the equipment to the bidder, to the contractors, and we will place a contract for the integration of the system and the installation in the tunnel. This will be the last one will be a build to print, because the technical solution will be developed by CERN. The next tender concerned the supply of 32 click units. This is for the HLLHC magnet. It's a protection system. There will be 14 kiloamps in the magnets, and in case of quench, we need to change the state of the magnet. We want the magnet to become resistive in 2 milliseconds. So this coupling units will inject a current in the magnet, and we will therefore avoid the thermal gradient in the magnet and distortion of the magnet. In this case, this will be a build-to-print technical specification, and CERN will supply the energy storage system. The next one is approximately the same principle, except that instead of injecting a current in the magnet, we will in 2 milliseconds extract all the energy from the magnet. It's the same principle, but this is only for magnets with a current up to 2000 amps. And this will be a functional specification. The next example is the supply of carbon fibers half shell for a magnetic measurement shaft. So CERN has developed a measurement system, and this will be the casing for the measurement system. So the system will be inserted in those 2D ship cross-section and will be inserted in the 11 Tesla magnet. And this will allow CERN to verify the magnetic specification of the magnet. So here, the two half shells will be in carbon fiber with a D-shaped cross-section. And the difficulty resides in the high tolerance for the concentricity. The next one is the supply of cryogenic cables from beam position monitors. Beam position monitors are devices that are in the vacuum chamber in the accelerator, and they provide us with the accurate position of the beam in the vacuum chamber. So for this, we will need 300 set of cables. The challenges here is due to the fact that the cables will be first in a vacuum environment, then in 5 Kelvin temperature, and then we'll come back to ambient temperature. The second challenge is the connector. The cable will have to be laser welded to the connector, and we cannot accept any cracks. Otherwise, the air will rush in the magnet and we will break the vacuum. This tender is very challenging because it's supply of 2 custom-built transport and handling vehicles. So we are looking here for a company that will be able to develop from scratch 2 vehicles that will go in the tunnel. So there is a constraint in terms of dimensions. Then the vehicles will have to move depending on the GPS position. They will go in the assembly hall. They will load the magnet. They will pull it along in the tunnel, and then 2 arms will have to shift it and put it in position. For this one, the market survey has already been sent, and the invitation to tender is will normally be issued in February 2021. The next one is more of a standard one, is the supply of water-cooled cables of 5 different sections. Here, CERN will provide with the external sheets for radiation hard reasons. And the company will have to have facilities in his premises to complete all the tests under pressure of the sets before sending it to CERN. The next one is the supply of prefabricated concrete blocks. So 2 types, cylinder shape or rectangular shapes. different weight, and for this one it's going to be a blanket purchase contract. So that means that over a period of 5 years, CERN will place several orders and with defined planning, and the firms, to be able to apply to this invitation to tender, the CERNs will have to have a proven experience in the field of prefabricated concrete blocks. The next tender is for supply of supervision system on CERN. So this company will have to analyze our supervision system and propose new hardware components like camera, access control, locking and unlocking of portals. We'll make sure that these new equipments will have no hardware conflict. We'll integrate them in our existing system, and we'll do all the cabling and associated computing infrastructure work. The next one is more to show you that we can also order off-the-shelf equipment. So this will be for a simple 2D laser cutting machine. So for this one, we will only specify the thickness of the sheets and the speed of the laser heads. And the last one is also something off the shelf. It's protection relays that CERN will buy. It's going to be a blanket purchase contract for 200 protection relays. And this will be installed and cabled by CERN and will help in creating a discrimination between all the circuit breaker and protection in the electrical network. So I think this is it. 15 minutes. So thank you for your attention.
Jerome, thank you very much for your presentation. You have been strictly on time. Thank you very much.
Like a Swiss watch.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I see that it is extremely helpful that in each of the opportunities you mentioned, you point out the email of the technical responsible of each of the packages. It is very helpful for industry to have a contact point to get more information. Thank you very much. Let's pass now to Belén for if we see any questions from the audience.
Yes, the first one is arriving just now, but it's just congratulations to you, Jerome. So maybe for newcomers, should be good to know if there is an industrial portal in which companies could find updated information about future opportunities.
Yeah, it's quite simple. You go on the public CERN webpage, www.cern.ch, and then at the bottom of the public page, you will have a link, doing business with CERN. If you click on that link, you will access the CERN procurement webpage, so everything is explained there. But another good mean of initiating the first contact with CERN is also contacting your ILO. ILO stands for Industrial Liaison Officer. For Spain, it's Mr. Moreno and Ms. Suja. And we have regular contact with them, and they can also pave the way, I would say, to CERN.
Okay, thank you very much. No questions for you, so it has been very clear and complete, your overview.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jerome. Your presentation, of course, will be available on our web. I don't know if you already sent it to me, but do it, please. Each of the slides is very helpful because in there you have the basic contact point and the basic details to initiate interest from industry with vis-a-vis CERN. Thank you, Jerome.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Now we are going to pass to our next speaker. Our next speaker comes from European XFEL. It's Nicole Iluch. Sorry, Nicole, I don't pronounce very well your family name. It's Nicole Iluch from European XFEL. She will present strategic plans, procurement and flagship projects on European XFEL. Nicole, you have 15 minutes. Go ahead, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you for giving me the stage, and Good morning to all of you from rainy Hamburg. I invite you now to join me for a visit at European XFEL and to get to know more about the procurement at European XFEL. I will now share my slides with you and see if you can see them in the presentation mode. Just a second. So can you see the presentation mode now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks. So yeah, my name is Nicole Ilush, and I'm here representing European XFEL as Managing and Administrative Director. Therefore, I'm as well responsible for procurement activities at European XFEL. And since we are still kind of a new member of the facility of big research infrastructures, I would like to provide you more information about European XFEL. We are a research facility of superlatives, I would say. We generate ultra-fast and ultra-short X-ray flashes, to be specific, 27,000 per second, with a brilliance that is 1 billion times higher than the best conventional X-ray radiation source. So we started operation in September 27 after around 10 years of construction. And our facility has now more than 500 employees, and in addition, 200 colleagues from DESY, a huge synchrotron in Germany, helping us to really mainly operating the Accelerator, but in many different areas as well. So I would say this collaboration is one of the success factors of European XFEL. We are located in Hamburg and Schenefeld. Our tunnel is 3.4 kilometers long and crosses a border between two German states, Schleswig-Holstein and Hamburg. And you can see here a picture from the facility from August 2017. In the meantime, our campus developed quite nicely. A few key facts about European XFEL, which was organized as a non-profit corporation in 29. And we give us the mission to design, construct, operate, and develop a free electron laser, which is actually supported by 12 partner countries. You can see the flags here. The last partner who joined is UK just in 2019. And the German government is the biggest shareholder of European XFEL with around 57% of the costs, followed by Russia with 26%. And each of the other international shareholders contributes with 1 to 3% to construction and as well to operation. So the total budget of the construction, which includes commissioning, was with 2005 prices 1.25 billion euros. The new estimate from 2018 is 1.54 billion euros. And 600 million euros were contributed in cash, whereas 550 million euros as in-kind contributions, mainly to manufacture parts of the facility. The operating budget in 2020 is about 134 million euros, and it's slightly increasing during the next years because we are still increasing operational activities at European XFEL. Here you can see the general layout of the facility, and as I've said, it starts at the DESY campus in Hamburg-Bahrenfeld with the injections of the electron benches, and then the next step is the acceleration to high energies within the superconducting accelerators. Then the electron bunches are directed through the undulators, which is the next step here. And then the last station is the photon tunnels, where the particles emit radiation that is increasingly amplified until an extremely short and intense X-ray flash. And it's finally creating then the X-ray lights and the X-ray flashes, which are used in different experimental stations at the end in our or at our campus in Hamburg or in Schenefeld. Here we have 6 scientific instruments using the X-ray sources in different manners, so therefore they are a little bit of differently triggered at the end. And here you can see a summary of our operational activities from 2017 to 2020. So 3 years of operation right now. In the meantime, we welcomed around 1,300 users across the world. And you have to apply for the user time at European XFEL. And you can see here on the slide that depending on the instrument, between 20 and 30% of the applications are successful from the international user community. So in the meantime, 109 proposals are finished or are yet scheduled. We already had 95 experiments at European XFEL. On my right-hand side, you can see the increase of the experimental stations going into operation from September 2017 to May 2019. So it's really still just a little bit longer as 1 year as we are operating the facility with all the 6 instruments. And the most, from my point of view, the most impressive number we can share is the increase of collected data at European XFEL. And this was something which was, I would say, a little bit of underestimated at the beginning of the planning. So we are now at an amount of 19 petabytes of data. And you can see at the bottom of the slide, the increase of the collected data. So which is really impressive and at the same time quite challenging for us, I have to say. So European XFEL is not the only young X-ray facility worldwide. So there are 2 X-ray-free electron lasers under construction, one at the new SHINE facility in Shanghai, China, and the second one at LCLS in the States. There are some smaller X-ray free electron facilities in Europe and one additional one in Korea and Japan. And if you look on the right-hand side of the slide, you can see that the development of light sources or of light source facilities has been faster than the increase in computer processing capacities, which gives you an idea about the future development of these kind of facilities and why they are such interesting for business partners, I would say. So with the procurement standards of European XFEL are, because we are a non-profit organization, we apply the respective European Union public procurement law and the related regulations. And this is the rule setting, which establishes a tool to ensure equal treatment for all businesses across Europe, as you know, and for European XFEL, since we apply European Union law, procurement law, and some special German laws as well. We've transferred the European law international legislation and apply to tenders whose monetary value exceeds a certain threshold, which is currently 214K euros. And for tenders lower than 1,000 euros, German national public tender rules apply. However, these national rules have to respect the general principles of the European Union law, as you could imagine. So we announce all our tenders on the well-known platforms, CIMET and TED, and you can find all our tenders and procurement activities on the European XFEL homepage as well. So I just invite you to check that. On my last slide, you will find the link to that homepage. And in 2019, more than 7,000 purchase orders were processed and goods and services with a total value of 30 million were ordered. The award of a contract or tender applies to the best value for money practice, as you can imagine. So what are our current procurement activities and our plans for the next years? So for the period 2020 to 2024, we estimate a procurement budget of around 340 million euros. That's why we are really interested to get to know new business partners as well, because we have many different activities on the campus, which are quite different. So it starts with additional user infrastructures, like a guest house, an additional office building, which we now start to construct, and a visitor center, including an exhibition. And we also have some infrastructures where we want to increase our scientific capabilities. We have 2 empty tunnels, which of course should be filled with new scientific and research infrastructures and experimental stations. So you can see here a list of the main important areas where we plan to be active with tenders and purchase orders in the futures. Starts with diagnostics. I don't want to go into the details, and ends with, of course, the interior fittings of the guest house, the visitor center and the exhibition. So many interesting projects are under preparation right now. And with this, I just go back with this list of activities. I just invite you to check our website, to get in touch with us, with our industrial liaison office as well. And I'm happy to meet all of you in person in Granada next year. With that, I'm ready to close my presentation and happy to take your questions.
Thank you very much, Nicole. Thank you very much for your presentation. Now let's see if we have questions from the audience. Belén?
Yes, thank you. We have received one question. How do we get information about the procurements of lower value, which don't appear, are not published on your website?
For this, I would highly recommend to get in touch with our procurement office or our ILO. So that would be the first point of contact. So our industrial liaison officer is Antonio Bonucci, and I can just add the email address on the last slide so that we can upload that and you have the direct contact.
Okay, maybe can you explain how do you normally interact with the ILO's network?
So normally we do that, as I said, via Antonio. So the network is still growing, but it's a very important tool for us. There are regular meetings, and these meetings and the activities of the ILOs are really supported not only by the management from European XFEL, but our shareholders representing 12 European countries are quite interested in this network of ILOs and their exchange on different kind of procurement activities and tenders. So there are regular meetings.
Okay. Thank you for the information. We have received two more questions. What kind of timeline for procurement do you have, for instance, superconducting magnets?
Sorry, can you please repeat?
What kind of timeline for procurement do you have? They ask for supercomputing magnets.
It's quite different, depends on the threshold, I would say, but it could be, I would say, something between 6 months and 2 years, depending on the planning status and yeah, which kind of, let's say, developmental work is included there.
Okay, thank you. I think this is the last question for you. Do you have a supplier database that companies can register for?
No.
Okay, because other big science organizations have this kind of database, and it seems to be useful. So I think this is the reason to ask you this.
Okay, so maybe I can double check that and then add something about it.
Okay, thank you very much anyway.
Okay, thank you very much, Nicole, for your presentation and for your availability for the questions. It has been a pleasure. So now it's the turn for our next speaker, coming from ESRF. Ingrid Milanese is with us to present the ESRF strategic plans, procurements, and flagship projects. Ingrid, thank you very much for being with us. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. So let me put on. Okay, so good morning, everyone. So I'm Ingrid Milanese. I'm the head of procurement and contract service at ESRF. So I am pleased to share with you today our ongoing projects that would lead to business opportunities for the industry. So to start, I'll take a moment to explain who we are and what are our missions to better understand the context of the projects that I will present. So the ESRF is the world's most intense X-ray source and a center of excellence for fundamental and innovation-driven research in condensed and living matter science. It is a model of international cooperation of 22 partner nations, including the host and organizing country of this big Science Business Forum event, Spain. So it is located in Grenoble in France. And after 32 years of science, since it has been constructed in 1988, we get today on an annual basis around 10,000 scientific visits that lead to about 2,000 publications. So the ESRF operates 44 beamlines and the accelerator is 844 meters long. So the ESRF missions are to design, construct, operate, and develop state-of-the-art X-ray synchrotron instruments to the benefit of the scientific communities of the member and associate countries, to support the use of X-rays by industry from member and associate countries to strengthen its competitiveness in the global scale, to train the next generation of scientists, engineer, and technical staff. And it also serves the international community for the advancements of knowledge and to address global societal challenges. Indeed, the ESRF X-ray science programs aims to provide as soon as possible a brand new generation of high energy synchrotron in order to tackle the global challenges from the horizon, defined by the Horizon Europe, such as the health and the environment. So in order to support that, since 2009, the ESRF has embarked upon an ambitious and innovative modernization project, the upgrade program, which will last until 2022. So the upgrade program consists in two phases. Phase one was completed in 2015 and represented a total of investment of 180 million euros for 19 new experimental stations and an overall improvement of the infrastructure and the accelerator system. Then phase two, the extremely brilliant source project, runs from 2015 to 2022, and it comprises the construction of a new revolutionary low emittance storage ring and 4 new beamlines, a new portfolio of unique instruments, including detectors, and a data as a service strategy to fully exploit the high performance of the new X-ray source. So the total investment for the EBS project is 115 million euros, of which over 30 million euros shall be committed in the next 2 years, and which represents opportunities for the industry. So I'll come back to that in a few seconds. So as I just said, the EBS project started in 2015 and had gone through several milestones, for which major ones are highlighted here in this view graph. So from 2015 to 2018, it was dedicated to in-house engineering, the procurement and assembly of the new storage ring. Then in 10th December 2018, the ESRF shuts down for 20 months. And during that period, we dismantled the first 3rd generation ring and installed the first 4th generation high energy EBS. And 11 months later, on the 28th November 2019, we had the first turns of electrons in the ABS ring. On 14th of March 2020, the EBS design parameters were reached 5 months ahead of schedule. And on the 25th August 2020, the scientific users are back at the ESRF in order to carry out experiments with the new EBS source. So the ESRF is really proud to have managed the Accelerator project in time and within the budget. So with this new storage ring concept, it increases the brilliance and coherence of the X-ray beams produced by a factor of 100 if we compare to present daylight sources. And it is 10 trillion times brighter than medical X-rays. So the ESRF EBS represents a new generation of synchrotron and an extraordinary new tool for the scientists to study the heart of matter at a nanometric level. So the EBS comprises the construction of 4 new beamlines, as I just said, but also some major refurbishments. And that includes also to implement a new insertion devices system for more brilliant beams and the procurement of new detectors. New access mode will be considered as we will have to translate that data that are being generated into scientific knowledge by using, we'll be using also the FAIR principle. So in order to emphasize and illustrate the opportunities for the industry, I will show an archetypical experiment chain at the ESRF, which you can see in this view graph. So at the entrance, we get the X-ray source, which is produced in the accelerator, going through major different processes in order to obtain the scientific results. So the optics will shape the beam. The sample will be controlled by different devices for its right position. And all around the samples are detectors that capture and record the X-rays that pass through or reflect from the sample, and that will generate big data. So with this new EBS source, which has a parallel performance for each of these processes, new challenges arise, which you can see here at the top. And in order to face these challenges, right in the bottom, we identify the possible technical solution, which are all new opportunities to work with the industry on an innovative model. So this is really the global picture, the strategy on the opportunity arising from this project. And now I will show you more details. What are those opportunities on procurement? So if we start with the EBS source on the accelerator side, so the major objectives are listed here. So the R&D improvement for the R&D for the improvement of the accelerator. I need to move this. The procurement of spares for all the systems and production of additional undulators. So that will lead to procure major components such as high precision magnets and power supplies. Those are key components of the EBS. Permanent magnet dipoles with longitudinal gradient. Those were innovative for the EBS, first time in the world that was implemented. The cryogenic permanent magnets, undulators, in order to reduce the gap in the insertion devices. The in-vacuum compact magnets for future lattice improvements. New ceramic chambers in order to improve the overall EBS performance. Fourth harmonic radiofrequency cavities for a better lifetime and higher brilliance. Fourth harmonic RF solid state amplifiers and circulators in order to power the harmonic cavities, and high power main RF klystrons in order to replace the one which has been installed more than 20 years ago. So if we continue in the process of the experimental chain, so with this new source, it will go through many different scientific instrumentations. And we will procure in the coming years several high precision mechanics such as monochromators, mirrors, cryocoolers, transfocators, and granite supports, and that for a better use of the EBS source coherence and to increase the stability and positioning accuracy of these instruments. We will also procure new generation of electronic and sensor, which will have to be adapted to the higher brilliance of the new EBS source, and that includes also metrology tools. We will procure new detectors in order to increase detection efficiency and have a better temporal resolution, and also will procure various mechanical equipment such as lead shielded parts, precision translation, rotation devices, and welded steel supports. Those are standard components for continuous improvement of the beamline instruments. So the last part of the experimental chain are all that is related to the big data that will be generated in the course of the experiment with the EBS source. So that leads to major adaptation on IT technologies, which are currently used at the ESRF and that I've listed here in the middle. So on the data acquisition, we will increase the capacity for the texture throughput up to 10 gigabytes per second, as the peak of the data flow will be higher than our data storage capacity, even though our plan is also to increase this capacity up to 30 petabytes. On the computing data analysis side, we will increase the capacity by a factor of 3 to 10, including artificial intelligence specific solutions. On archiving, we will increase up to 300 petabytes, possible replacement also of the library's tape system. And finally, on the network, we will have to make major adaptations to the infrastructure and make regular upgrades and replacements. So all of these large procurement will lead to an expected expenditure of about 36 million euros from now till the end of 2021. And by 2024, we expect to place contracts for a total estimated amount of 82 million euros in these categories. So as far as our procurement processes, I wish to underline that the ESRF applies the rules which are approved by its Council of Administration, what we call the ESRF financial rule. So our call for tenders are not published on the ESRF website. The ESRF publishes its call for tender through its industrial liaison officer, who can then direct the call to the relevant potential suppliers, who are then invited to bid. And we launch a call for tender for contracts, for spending value, which are above 50 million euros. And we apply the best value for money principle. So for more information concerning our procurement rule processes, or if you need any additional figures, I invite you to download the Procurement Handbook that was published on the BSBF website. So to conclude, I wish to say that for companies which field of competence correspond to the opportunities on procurement that I've just presented, they are invited to attend the parallel sessions, which program can be found also on the BSBF website. And I am showing here the address in the screen. And the name of the speakers are also published there. So if you need further details or more information in the meantime on a specific component or instruments, you may want to contact them. And also you can contact the industrial liaison officers of your respective country, or you can also contact us at purchase@esrf.com. So with that, this is the end of my presentation. I thank you very much for your attention, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Ingrid. Just in schedule, it is clear that Grenoble is very close to Switzerland. It's very good. Congratulations. Thank you also for referring to the BSBF parallelizations, also to being so detailed on the elements of each procurement. It is very interesting for industry, and also for highlighting the short-term amount of procurement, 36 million euros for 2020-2021, and for the 2020-2024, 82 million euros. Thank you very much for your presentation. Now let's see if we have questions from the audience?
Yes, we have received several questions for you. The first one is, are there specific contact persons for each technological area who we can contact for the lower value procurements?
Specifically for the lower value, no. If you refer to the opportunities that I've presented, as I mentioned, the technical contact, we have published the names on the BSBF website. So you are invited to contact them, but we don't have any specific person for low or high value contracts.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Next one, how can we send our product capabilities into?
I'm sorry?
How can we send our product capabilities into? I guess that maybe through your contact email.
Yes, yes. You can contact on the address I just mentioned, purchase@esrf.com.
Okay. Next one, thank you for the presentation. I had a rather similar question. Do you have a company database where we could search for companies?
A company database where companies can register. We don't have that, no.
Okay, it's a recurring question.
Yeah.
And the last one, sorry, there is something that I don't understand. The magnets are already bought for the ESRF upgrade, but in the presentation was written that there is going to be tenders for magnets.
Yes, well, yeah, the big procurement for the directly linked to the restart, the construction of the new accelerator, yes, that was done. But there are still going to be some procurement to be done regarding the magnets on the operation side. So we plan until, for the next 3 to 4 years to have at least 30 million euros spent regarding this. So.
Thank you, Ingrid. The last one, could you give some insights on the data acquisition procurement package?
Insight on the data
acquisition procurement package.
Well, again, for more information, you can contact the person. That is published.
Okay,
really.
I think it's clear. Thank you very much, Ingrid, for answering all the questions.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you very much, Ingrid, for the presentation and for the availability of answering questions. It was extremely interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we are going to pass to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Luis Ortega. He's from ESS in Sweden, and he will give us a broad overview of the strategic plans, the procurements 2021, and the flagship projects today under construction in ESS. Luis, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jorge. I will switch directly to my slides. Can you please confirm that you are seeing those? Do you see my slide?
Not yet. You have to share your your screen and select your presentation.
Okay, there is a bit of a technical moment, which will be solved in a second.
If it's not solved, I am ready to present your presentation. Huh?
Okay, that's also helpful. If you can switch to my presentation, it will be helpful.
Yeah, okay. As one friend of mine tells me, shit happens, and this is what happens sometimes. Huh?
Yeah, it was a security preference with Zoom that was not allowed. So sorry for that.
No problem. Can you see my presentation?
I do.
Let's see if I can. Okay, it's a PDF, so it's not a PowerPoint. So I think, okay.
So yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Thank you very much. So if you can move to the next slide. So here, yeah, okay.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay.
Okay, so thank you, and thank you everyone for participating in the webinar. And sorry for these technical problems. I will be presenting ESS in two sections. I will be talking a bit about the strategic plans of ESS, and later I will be talking about procurements for the period 2020 and 2021, which is the next 15 months. So ESS is a European flagship project for science and innovation, planning to open to researchers from all over the world in 2023. Research with neutrons has a long history in Europe, and ESS strategy is to continue enabling neutron science with the most powerful neutron source to date. Here you can see ESS vision, and that is to enable scientific breakthroughs in research related to materials, energy, health, and the environment, and thereby address some of the most important societal changes of our time. If you can move to the next slide. Here you can see some of the ESS near future highlights. ESS will be the world's most powerful neutron source with 5 megabyte accelerator, which will start with 2 megabytes at the beginning in 2023. There will be 15 different instruments ready from the start. And then we will move up to 22 instruments in the coming years. It is expected to have 3,000 guest scientists visiting per year to conduct experiments when we are in full operations. And it will be possible to carry out 800 different experiments annually. And the ambition for ESS is to become climate neutral during its lifetime, for example, by using renewable energy and reusing excess heat. So this represents a bit of our strategy. If you move to the next slide. Thank you so much. ESS is a partnership of 13 European countries located in Sweden and Denmark, and those are the host countries. We have other members that are Estonia, France, Italy, Norway, Poland, Spain, Switzerland, and the UK, the Czech Republic, Germany, and Hungary. And we are welcoming other countries if they wish to join. The total budget for the construction of ESS is 1.84 billion euro, and the annual operating cost, it is estimated to be 140 million euros. If you can move to the next slide. Here we can see a project timeline. We've completed some of the MYRRHA milestones to date. 2020, we are heading towards our main goal, that is delivering first science. And by 2025, we want to have the construction completed and enable science with the 15 instruments I mentioned before. And then we can go to the last slide. Here is a snapshot of the facility. Today we are a bit over 500 employees with many collaborators from ESS in-kind partners, which are developing and building most of the equipment for the project. As you can see in the photo, our conventional facilities are well advanced and will be delivered within 2021. Our main focus in the project is installation and commissioning of systems for Accelerator, Target, controls, instruments, etc. So with this and with the idea that most of our focus is installation and commissioning, we can move to the next slide, which will present some of also the next slide, please. Some of the information in terms of procurement. I would like to draw your attention to this slide. Here we have the link to our pages in the ESS website. This is very important. This is the main source of information for procurements. Here is where we publish our ongoing procurements, contract notices above 200,000 euros, market surveys and requests for information. Here we also publish our procurement plan under forthcoming procurements with advance notices above 200,000 euro. We also publish here our contract award notices for those procurements we have finished and awarded. There are links to the procurement rules. There is a link to guidelines for suppliers on how we manage ESS procurement and how to engage with us. There is some information about invoicing instructions and working on site for those procurements which require installation activities. There is also a link to our e-tendering system and the business profiles. This is a very important link. This is with the link that takes you to the e-tendering system. And here is where we maintain our supplier database. So for those who are not registered, I kindly ask you to register an account. This will enable you to follow up on our procurement plan and to participate in our business opportunities. And just to finish on this one, we also publish in specific cases our procurements in the official journal of the European Union when it's deemed necessary for contract notices above 200,000 euros, or in case we do pre-commercial procurements, public procurement of innovation activities, or joint procurements with other contracting authorities. If you can move to the next one, please. Here is some information about the ESS procurement rules. ESS is governed by the organization's procurement rules that were approved or adopted by the Council 1st October 2015 and were updated recently, 31st of March 2020. It applied to contracts for goods, services, and works from ESS budget, and that's important. It's only for ESS budget, and they do not apply to procurements done by our in-kind partners. We follow principles and objectives detailed in the EU Treaty, such principles such transparency, proportionality, mutual recognition, equal treatment, and non-discrimination. And we are promoting objectives such as value for money, publicity, integrity, innovation, and sustainability. There is a tender appeal board in case tenders may seek to appeal our award decisions. And there is a link to the rules itself here in this slide as well. In the next slide, we have a list of procurements divided by division. As you can see, Accelerator is well advanced. There are 2 procurements planned for the next 15 months. We have the high beta cluster modulators, which is planned to be launched very soon. This procurement is already published on the e-tendering system under forthcoming procurements. And we also will be doing a procurement for the supply of liquid nitrogen, most likely next year. Then we have the Target division. We have 5 procurements for Target. We have an isolation valve and drying system. Both of them will be launched next year. We have another procurement for manufacturing of mock-up tester stamp sealed in mock-ups. These are mock-ups to replicate our Target monolith components to try to do testing on the components to be installed in the monolith. We have another procurement for neutron beam windows that will be launched very soon. This one is as well already published on the e-tendering system, and suppliers may register interest already now. And we have another procurement for an insert extraction cask that will be done next year. In the next slide, we have procurements for integrated control system. We will be doing soon procurement for a framework agreement for servers. This is led by integrated control system, but will include servers for our IT department, our data and software management center in Copenhagen as well. So it will be a large procurement for servers, storage, virtualization, and industrial PC. We will be doing for integrated control systems a framework agreement for software development services. This is a large framework expected to run for about 5 years to do software development for all aspects of the integrated control system. This is renewing a similar framework agreement that's been running for the last 4 years. And we will also be doing a procurement for the data center and office network switches and Wi-Fi access points, and personal safety systems for access stations for Target and bunker buildings. In the scientific division, we have a procurement that will be done most likely this year for a framework agreement for furniture and installation for chemical and technical laboratories. And next year, we expect to do a procurement for a dilatometer for beer instrument, a diffractometer, and a horizontal load frame stress rig for beer diffractometer. And here in this slide, we have the engineering and integration division. And I would like to draw the attention to this procurement as well. This is going to be a very large framework agreement for technical consultants in engineering disciplines. And this covers a number of disciplines such as technical analysis, plant and process system, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, electronic engineering, survey and alignment, project management, quality management, environment, safety and health, and systems engineering. So this was as well a framework agreement that we've been using for some years, and it's expected to be a large scope in terms of services to be provided for ESS. In the next slide, we have some procurements for facility management. We're going to be doing a procurement for a framework agreement for services and materials for low voltage switch gears. And we will be doing a framework agreement for facility maintenance and construction services. These are some minor construction services related to facility maintenance. And this procurement as well is planned to be launched in the coming months. In terms of infrastructure, we are planning to do a procurement for a framework agreement for installation of passive fire protection systems. And finally, in this list, we have environment, safety and health, and we will be doing a procurement for radiation area monitoring. And the last one is a combination of several possible procurements. The strategy is not defined yet, but we need to fit out our waste treatment facility, and there will be a procurements for equipment and different installations. More information will follow. In the next slide, this is a specific slide for a neutron scattering systems, which is all about the instruments. And here I would like to remark that procurements for instruments are mostly done by instrument teams in in-kind partners. Here you have two links to ESS website where you can find information about the instruments and the lead in-kind partners delivering those instruments. It is expected that procurements will be done by these organizations, and there you can follow information about the opportunities. In any case, we may support in-kind partners with some procurement activities, such as cases for instrument shielding, instrument caves, and control hatches. In case that happens, we will be publishing our procurements on our web via our e-tendering system. And in some specific cases, we are leading procurement activities. For example, manufacturing of a 10B4C targets, manufacturing of detector vessels, some procurements for a NMX instrument, and some procurements for test beam line, such as caves, shielding, and control hatches. And maybe I just finish mentioning that for all these procurements, we will be publishing a statement of work abstract, providing some detail about the expected scope of work, and that will be published on the e-tendering system for each specific case. So with this, I think we can open the time for questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Luis. Which is very clear is that a good connection with the web page and with your web part of procurement is essential to be really following what is going on just for further details on each of the procurements that you just mentioned. Let's see if we have some questions from the audience. Belen?
Yes, we have received the same recurrent question. How do you get informed of the lower value procurements?
So below 200,000 euros, we have different ways of approaching the market, and we have different thresholds. There is an opportunity using the ILOs to be involved in procurements between 50,000 euros and 200,000 euros. So working with the ILOs, being in touch with them, and offering the services through the ILOs is a useful way of getting to know those opportunities. Then below 50,000 euros, we do selective procurements. And what's very important for companies is to be registered in our supplier database via the e-tendering system. This way we can access the list of potential companies to be invited.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we have received one more question. Have you done procurement for detectors yet? How do we register in your database?
So procurements for detectors are divided in the type of detectors we're going to be using for the instruments. For ESS case, we will be procuring some services like manufacture and products, manufacturing of vessels for detectors, like manufacturing of targets, because we will only be doing detectors for based on 10B4C on boron carbide. Okay. Mm-hmm. The rest of detectors of different kinds will be procured or built by our in-kind partners. So it is a difficult landscape, and companies interested in delivering supplies and services for instruments need to follow up with the different in-kind partners involved or leading the delivery of those instruments. And there they can find information about what procurements will happen.
Okay, we have also received a programmatic question concerning ESS uses for fusion technologies in competition with IFMIF. So it is well known that ESS and IFMIF neutron flux tails are different, but ESS neutron plus an advanced scientific program based on modeling will be enough to skip IFMIF. This will be the case if IFMIF is not finally built. This approach is the approach of some international program, for instance, in the USA. The question is ESS planning to offer scientific uses for fusion material community?
I'm afraid I will have to prepare a better answer to that. That's out of my knowledge at this point.
Okay.
So
okay.
I can try to address that, but I don't think that is the objective of ESS whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your answer. It's a pity that we don't have here Angel, but maybe we can address also this question to Angel Ibarra. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. May I finish just indicating that my contact details are on the slides, and any other question that the participants may have, I'm happy to take.
Okay. We have just received another question. Sorry. It's the last one. Is there an opportunity for companies to provide their company profile other than procurement codes?
At this very moment, our system only allows to do a selection of a common procurement vocabulary codes. And this is what we have. We have an internal mapping of those codes to specific disciplines, and we are optimizing that to make it more useful in terms of the database. But we don't have a good solution to provide slides or other kind of documentation for companies that are registered.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. No more questions for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Belen. Thank you, Luis, for your presentation, for your availability, and for all the details that you give on future procurements. More details will be on your web. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your help with the presentation.
No problem. That's why we ask for your presentations. Okay, our next speaker, as you listen from Luis Ortega, also is related to ESS. Luis mentioned that some of the procurement are channeled through in-kind contributions to the ESS, and this is the case of ESS Bilbao. ESS Bilbao is one of the new associate big science organizations of BSBF, and we are really pleased to have Estefanía Abad from ESS Bilbao, I suppose, desde el mismo centro de Bilbao. Go ahead, Estefanía.
Okay, good morning everyone from Bilbao. Yes, thank you Jorge, and thank you to the organization for the invitation to present in this webinar, ESS Bilbao, our strategic...
Would you please, Estefanía, speak a little bit louder, please?
Okay, could you hear me now?
Now better, thank you.
Okay. And can you see my presentation, right?
Okay. Yes.
So yes, I will present our plans, procurements, and flagship projects. So, who we are? We are a research and development center for particle accelerator and neutron science and technologies, which bring knowledge and added value through the in-kind contribution to the European spallation neutron source that Luis has just presented, that is under construction in Lund, Sweden. We are a quite small center compared with the large research infrastructure that have been presented in the morning. We are less than 50 people that are mainly located. Our headquarters and R&D center are in Bilbao area, and we have another facility small in Vitoria area and Madrid satellites. We are organized in four technology divisions that are Accelerator, Target, and Instruments, similar to ESS. Also, we have a manufacturing division one, and then we have support division like finance and project management office, in which we have involved the procurement and collaboration and so on. In this slide, you can see an overview of our complete in-kind contribution to ESS, because nowadays our mission is to channel the Spanish contribution to the construction phase of the ESS. And these contributions are mainly in four areas, in the areas of Accelerator, in the area of Target, and also in the areas of instruments. I will tell with a little bit of more detail in the following slides. Just to give you some figures, in this slide, there is a summary of all of our contributions that we have like 15 technical annex, that is our contract signed with ESS, that values over 45 million euros, because the Spanish total contribution is at 3% of the ESS construction budget, and is about 55 million. Our contributions are quite balanced between areas of Accelerator, Target, and Instruments, are in general high added value contributions. Regarding Accelerator, ESS Bilbao is providing the medium energy beam transport, that is the structure that matches the exit of the RFQ to the DTLs, and we are responsible for the design, manufacturing, diagnostic, control, assembly, and testing. And we are also providing 6 RF chains, 1 for RFQ and 5 for DTL. They are composed by the klystrons, modulators, loads, waveguides, interlocks, and low-level RF. The current status of this contribution, you can see in this slide. The MEVET was already assembled and could test at our R&D facility in Bilbao and delivered to Lund last year, and the commission is expecting as soon as the RFQ has been commissioned. So this for this the procurements, let's say, are main, all of them done. For the RF contribution, we have already delivered to Lund most of the klystrons, all the modulators. You have here some indication of our providers, mainly local companies or Spanish companies and sometimes international. We have provided also waveguides and other components that are already delivered, and just the final components will be delivered by the end of this year and the beginning of the next one. Regarding Target, we are making a key contribution to the ESS Target. leading several critical components that include the target wheel, the monolith vessel, and other smaller components. And here in this slide, you can see more details about the status of these components. The target wheel that is composed by the vessel that you can see in this picture here is being manufactured by our provider Norte Mecánica, the SAF by a local company, the SAF and Eureka, and the drive unit by IBS. They are under fabrication, and they will be, the FATs will be done by the end of the year or initial of the next one. The lower and medium monolith vessel, that is a massive component that you can see here during the FATs, is being delivered really soon, because yesterday they left the facilities of Catinox, our provider, and in a couple of weeks will be in Lund, ready to be installed there. This will be also a milestone in our plans and also in ESS plans. And we have already delivered the tanning being done for the ESS. And what is lasting from this target contribution are the proton beam window, a proton beam instrumentation plug that are ready to be launched, and the procurements will be launched during the end of this year or the next year. You can have more details about that, just contacting us, or I will contact you with the contact responsible.
Estefania, we have problems with your audio. If you could speak louder, please. Thank you.
Okay, I will try. Now it's better?
Not really.
Not really, sorry.
Now it's okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, last but not least, we are prime contractor from Miracle's instrument, that is the time of light backscattering instrument for ESS, for polymer science, energy materials, and magnetic studies. We are prime contractors, so we will launch all the procurements for this instrument, and as it is one of the latest instruments of the ESS, the procurements will come along the following years. Currently, we are in the detail engineering processing, and we are about to launch the first part of the optical guide is already under fabrication, but it's a small part that was already launched a few months ago. But the design of the vessel and in-vessel components is completed and will be launched by the end of the year or the initial of the next one. The bunker wall insert specs are also ready. The choppers and neutron guides will be launched next year. Now, during the last year, we have also been involved in a strategic planning process for the period 2020-2025. And to develop this plan, we have been identifying our stakeholders and analyzing their expectation. With that, we managed to set up our objective for this period, that the first one is to successfully deliver the in-kind contribution to the ESS and search for new in-kind opportunities during initial operations. The second one is to increase the participation in other accelerator and neutron research and projects at national and international level. And the third one is the development of our local infrastructure oriented towards a compact accelerator-driven neutron source. Furthermore, during this year, we have also been involved in the development of a socioeconomic impact report that in the framework of the Accelerator European project. And this report have shown that the participation of Spain in ESS and the work of ESS Bilbao related to in-kind contribution has made very positive impact in the local, national, and international level, and also generate knowledge, technological, economical, and social outputs to this impact. One of the success stories that has been covered in this report is that in the period 2017-2019, Spain was the country with the highest value of contracts awarded in ESS direct procurements. And we think that the coordination of ESS Bilbao with our ILO and with the local industry, local and national industry, has an important contribution to reach this success. Oops. So in this slide, you have a summary of the procurements that we have planned for the next year. These are the procurements related with ESS, with the targets that I was mentioning, and also with the instrument. And these are about 7 million euros. And in the other part of the slide, you have another procurement that is more related with a flagship or internal project that we are already, that we are currently under development, that it will be about 2 million euros, and it has been just launched. And I will tell you right now, because this is part of the medium and long-term overview. As I told you, one of our projects, flagship projects, that goes now under development, and is our midterm goal, is to develop in-house an RFQ that goes from nowadays in our R&D facility. We have an injector that has 45 keV proton beam with high intensity. And with this structure that we are fabricating right now, we will go from this energy to 3 MeV. It's an innovative design that has been done by our people, our Accelerator division. The first module was already fabricated by ABSOs, and here you can see the project manager and the Accelerator division with the first segment. This segment has been successfully tested, and now the other parts of the structure is under procurement. And as a long-term goal, we have to develop a low energy 30 MeV accelerator neutron facility that we have proposed, and is named Argitu. That has been proposed with the idea to have here a local, a national facility, a small facility for the realization of routine experiments for characterization of the structure and dynamics of samples, for better preparation of outstanding experiments in high flux neutron source like ILL.
Estefania, again, we have problems with your micro. Sorry about that. And you have 2 minutes left, okay?
I'm just about to finish. Serving as an attracting money for a future generator of young scientists. And this is not just our initiative, it's a European initiative, and ELENA, European Low Energy Accelerator Based Neutron Facility Association, is being setting up with these members, JULIC, LLB, INFN, IFE, MYRRHA, and us. And the idea is to close the gap that sometimes is opening by the current shutdown of research reactor. And we want to join forces and face technical challenge. These neutron bases are scalables, and we are proposing a medium size. The idea is to invest in facilities that has a lower operational cost and do not need nuclear licensing, and have lower security requirements. This comes to my end. I'm open for questions. Sorry about the problems with the sound. I don't know.
No problem, Stefania. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Please stop sharing your presentation, and we'll go to Belen's module for the questions, if any. Thank you very much, Stefania.
Okay. Thank you, Stefania. We have received one question for you. Are there also other than Spanish companies involved in the mission of ESS Bilbao?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Are there also other than Spanish companies involved in the mission of ESS Bilbao?
I don't know if I understand very well the question, but do you mean
if I think that they are asking if you have international companies that has been awarded with your procurements.
Of course, we have international. I mean, we are following in our procurement. We are following the Spanish public procurement laws. All international companies can be
okay.
Can present.
Okay.
So
okay. Thank you for your clarification.
We work a lot with local and national companies, but we have examples.
You are open to other companies. Okay. Thank you very much for the clarification. No more questions for you. So thanks again.
Okay.
Thank you, Stefania, from Bilbao. Thank you for your availability for the presentation and for the questions. Our next speaker comes from FAIR. She's Sonia Uterman. Hi, Sonia, how are you? Nice to have you on board today.
Hi, Jorge.
She's going to present strategic plans, procurements, and flagship project for FAIR, which is a very interesting but strange organized facility. Go ahead, Sonia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jorge. Could you please confirm that you can see my slide? Okay, I can't hear Jorge's answer, so I'm going to continue. I'm pleased to present today FAIR. FAIR stands for the Facility for Antiproton and Ion Research in Europe. And we're based in Germany, in Darmstadt, which is near Frankfurt. So you may be able to see that at the top of my slides, I have two logos. I have the FAIR logo for the Facility for Proton and Ion Research in Europe, and I also have the logo GSI. GSI stands for the Gesellschaft für Schwerionenforschung, which is the Society for Heavy Ion Research, part of the Helmholtz Society in Germany. And GSI has been around, in fact, for over 50 years. So if you see the image I've put here, this is a combination artist's impression and photograph of GSI and FAIR. The cluster of buildings at the top, the squarish area, this is mostly GSI, which is performing heavy ion research as a national facility in Germany. And all the exciting green landscape that you see at the front is the FAIR facility that's being built. You can see this a little better in this sketch here. So the blue lines here mark the existing facility. This is GSI. And everything in red is what we have planned or are building right now. So you can see it's not just an accelerator or a storage ring, it's actually an entire complex of accelerators, rings, and experimental hutches. We have 4 scientific pillars at FAIR. New STAR, which looks at nuclear structure and astrophysics. We have 850 scientists working on that. We look at compressed baryonic matter, which is matter under extreme conditions of heat and pressure, such as you might find in a neutron star, or of course at Darmstadt. We have PANDA, which looks at antiproton annihilation. We have 500 scientists working on that, and APO, which is atomic plasma physics and applications, with 720 scientists working on that. So that was a bit of background about what the FAIR project is and what science we are doing and hope to do. I have to present to you also our governance, because our governance explains to you how the background behind our procurement rules. We are a GmbH, which means we are a limited liability company according to German law. So this is why we procure according to German law and EU law. Our host laboratory is the GSI Helmholtz, and they are also our majority shareholder representing Germany. Our other shareholders are Finland, France, India, Poland, Romania, Russia, our second largest shareholder, Slovenia, and Sweden. The UK is an associate partner, and the Czech Republic is an aspirant partner. So I would like to put in a little aside here. I noticed when I was looking at the comments and the questions that there was a lot of praise for the presentation that Jérôme made, and I thought, oh yes, I hadn't really put any slides together on that. So what I've done is I've put together some rather ugly slides, which I've just nailed on the back of this presentation. So please bear with me. I won't be able to present them at length, but they are there in an ugly form for you to download at the end, and something better will follow. So I would like to present our procurement strategy in a more abstract way, I'm afraid. We have the whole FAIR project costs about 3 million. Half of it we still have to spend. And most of these things that we are now procuring are things that require quite a large degree of innovation. So if we look at what a big science life cycle looks like from the white paper, starting from the white paper of making the case for the big science project up to the upgrade and the inevitable extension, we're of course here, as are the other people presenting, in this orange stage of design, scoping and specification, tendering and project delivery. I wondered why people like you, experts like you, actually want to supply big science. And so I was looking around, I came across this study. It's rather old, it's from 1996. And these researchers looked into why people supply CERN. They performed a questionnaire and they said, oh, which of these reasons is most important for you? So you can see there's an orange arrow at the bottom, and all of the blue stripes that are longer than they go beyond the orange arrow are reasons that the companies, the suppliers, said were important to them for supplying CERN. So if we look at what those reasons are, we saw that it wasn't so much making the direct profit. It was more to do with marketing and imaging benefits. And this may have changed a lot since then, especially bearing in mind the answers to the Slido poll. So the same researchers asked, well, what technical benefits do you see in supply? And here we see that, in fact, these are the knowledge-based benefits. So why do you want to supply us in the first place? I don't think it's really for the money, although of course money is important to all of us. Money makes the world go round. And I don't think it's because we are easy customers. So I have to admit we're not. So you are, of course, interested in getting the contract, but you're interested in reputation and marketing and knowledge, skills and R&D. And in fact, many companies seek out opportunities to supply big science as part of their innovation strategy. How does this work at FAIR, and how does this bear on our strategic procurement of innovation, which is what we're looking at now in this later stage of the FAIR project? We launch tenders. We have a process without negotiation or with negotiation. And because we are a limited liability company, according to German law, we have these thresholds that we all know so well from the European procurement directives. So for items below 214 €, we launch a German national tender, and for the larger items, then an EU tender. We also procure about half of our Accelerator components in kind, and I'm going to come to that in a second. I know I'm not the first person to mention that today. The degree of innovation that we seek in addressing our problems decides really what procurement process we employ. So if we launch a tendering process without negotiation, this is usually something like a built to print or something with where we don't expect a great deal of innovation, but where we're expecting that we need an innovative solution to our problems, then you will be looking at our negotiated tendering processes or in kind. We do publish built to print, but most of our tenders and in-kinds are built according to what we call functional specifications. So we say it should do X, not build it like this. To give you an idea of how this is distributed, here's a little table. So last year, we sealed the deal on 170 million worth of tenders, of which only 1.4 million were off the shelf. Then there's this little table. We have the negotiated tenders and those without negotiation. I've split it into two columns. So we have the national tenders and the EU tenders. So you can see the majority, most of our tenders are in fact with negotiation, where we're looking at a certain degree of R&D or innovation. And these figures account for about half of our accelerator procurement. I'm going to, of course, show you where to look for FAIR and GSI tenders. I think this is essential information for those of you who have given us your precious time today. So the links will be at the end, and you're welcome, of course, to download these slides and click through all our links at leisure. Sometimes, about half the time, in fact, we want something really, really special. FAIR is not alone in this, I know. And so looking back at our life cycle model here, what we're looking for is help in these orange speech bubbles. We may be looking for your help in making key design choices or performing exploratory R&D. We may need your help in translating our needs into specifications, because science is like life and love in general. It's often very hard to know exactly what you want and need. And sometimes you need somebody to help you address that. Or of course, we may need your help in design and redesign, prototyping and such like. We can launch tenders for the prototyping and for the R&D and for the specifications, but another tool, a very powerful tool for addressing this is how we do it at FAIR. So here's FAIR at the top. We have our shareholders and we have provider. This is FAIR jargon for suppliers. The shareholder, our shareholder company, pays cash. They launch tenders on their national market, and they pay cash to a provider, usually in their company, in their country. That provider builds the equipment or provides the services. We shouldn't be too machine-oriented here. We're also talking about software and services. They provide that to FAIR, and FAIR then provides the shares to the shareholders. So if you're a skilled specialist, which many of you are, I hope you are at this corner, or you will be very shortly. Those of you working in industry liaison, you have the difficult task of being in the middle here and trying to link us with one another. So here, just a reminder, these are our shareholders. If your country is represented here, I urge you to have a look regularly at your shareholders' tenders. We at FAIR don't know when our shareholders are launching tenders, because they operate obviously independently. So there are links at the end. Please have a look at them. It is part of the in-kind deal is that we very much, or that shareholders very much like to award. They like it if there's a bidder from their country. We see in-kind as an R&D partnership where we perform R&D with your scientists, you with ours. So it's like an extended workbench, if you like. You help us define our needs and write our specifications. And our hope here would be that by interpreting our needs, you would be in some way anticipating market needs, which would be relevant for you in the future. So the way we see these relationships is you extend your knowledge network with FAIR, and you don't have to bear all of your research and development risk on your own. Instead, you're sharing it with us. We have very favorable intellectual property terms because we're very public oriented. We're not in this business to make a profit. And this is true of many of the negotiated tenders too. You have had a look at all our tenders, all of those of our shareholders, and you're still thinking, well, this isn't really the innovative strategy I want to pursue, then I would like to just introduce very briefly our technology transfer team. And we have at least one of our technology transfer team is dialed in today, so she's listening and she'll catch me out if I say any mistakes. It's a flexible technology transfer. So we don't have fixed guidelines on this relationship. It's a direct relationship between our scientists and your team that is designed then to fit the circumstances. And there are two ways largely of doing this. GSI or FAIR scientists could create something unique, which we then think has potential on the market. And in that case, we would search for partners there. And one of the big things that we're looking to find partners for at the moment is our Green IT Cube, for which our scientists there won lots of prizes, and we think it has great potential for being monetarized, but this is not our mandate to monetize that. We need partners like you to help us with that. Another possible avenue there for technology transfer is if GSI has ideas or FAIR has ideas, we kind of need this, but we have a knowledge gap. We have expertise in-house, but we need to extend that. And for that, then we would search for cooperations with industry. Our Office of Technology Transfer, they see themselves as a bridge connecting GSI and FAIR to industry, and they coach all of us through this relationship. So please, I urge you have a look at their website. I've put the links here. And we have also uploaded 4 technology transfers proposals to the Big Science Business Forum website. So by all means, have a look there, and if you want to see the sort of things that we have in offer. I'd also like to just mention again, Jorge presented it at the beginning, our next webinar in February will be about technology transfer. So if that's your game, mark it in your calendar now. Here are the links I promised you. Take a look also at the Big Science Business Forum Procurement Handbook. I know I'm not the first to plug it. This explains the nitty-gritty and the rules of how we do it, and explains also, repeats some of the links. Contact your industry liaison officers, and if you don't know who your industry liaison officer is for FAIR, please have a look here. And if you don't find anyone there, please contact me. Also, of course, check out our open tenders. Here's the link, and consortia are welcome. These are the ugly slides, specific examples of upcoming tenders. I see I have 28 seconds left. So we are working on a comprehensive publication, which will be shiny and more along the lines of what Jérôme presented. So here we're looking at some ultra high vacuum equipment. I'm not the expert, I'm just going to show you the pictures. So these are just some, I'm sorry they're so ugly, some examples of some high-tech stuff that we're looking for, some low-tech stuff as well. And that's my alarm clock telling me I've run out of time. Stop. So thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to your questions. I just stop sharing my screen now.
Thank you very much, Sonia. I think there are 2 questions for you. Is the UK an associate partner because of non-membership of the European Union?
No, that's not true at all. This was well before the Brexit was even in discussion, and India and Russia are also shareholders. So this is not the
This is not the case. Okay. Yeah. How does this affect UK companies standing in procurements?
British companies, of course, will apply for, I hope, will bid for our tenders. And the conditions are those that they are for any non-EU member. This should not bear any disadvantage to you because, of course, we also have our shareholders, Russia and India, and we don't want them to be at a disadvantage in terms of VAT and what do you call it, import and export and that sort of thing. So this is not something that you should worry about. British companies or Swiss companies or whoever else is here who's not inside the EU. We make an effort both in our tenders and in our in-kind that you're not suffering a disadvantage against the European common market. That's not in your interest, it's not in your interest.
Okay, there is also a question linked to this. What is the status of an associate partner?
I don't know, to tell you the truth.
Okay. Maybe you can answer in writing if you want, so don't worry. Another question, because FAIR is a GmbH, do bids by non-German companies need to be submitted in German?
I beg your pardon, please, can you repeat that?
Yeah, because FAIR is a GmbH, do bids by non-German companies need to be submitted in German?
Oh, no, they don't, but I would like to, I have to confess that many of our smaller tenders, most of our smaller tenders that we launch in Germany are written in German. I know this is a problem, this is an obstacle. If you see there, with the help of Google Translate, you see something there you would really like to bid on, please get in touch with me and we'll see if we can work something out there. This is not something that we can solve short term. So yes, you're very welcome to bid, but I understand it might not be easy for you to do so.
Okay, thank you for your clarification. The last one, I think, is possible to participate for non-members, for instance, Spain?
Yes, of course, very much so. In fact, some of our most advanced magnets are being supplied by Elite, which I believe is a Spanish firm, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think somebody from Elite is here today. Hello. Yeah, so any of our bids, also those, any of our tenders, also those of our shareholders, anyone is welcome to bid. But we particularly urge you, if you are in a shareholder country, to take a particularly close look at what your shareholder is tendering.
Okay, thank you very much, Sonia. I think this is all for you. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you, Jorge.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Sonia, for your presentation and your availability for the questions. It was a very interesting way of presenting with all the concrete procurements at the end. I'm sure industry will be very interested also in looking at the last part of your presentation. Now, last but not least, we have with us Caterina Viscari. She's the Director General of Alba Synchrotron in Barcelona. She's going to give us a presentation regarding LEAPS, which is an extremely interesting league of association between different big science organizations to have a common procurement, some common strategy. LEAPS has been recently appointed as one of the associate big science organizations for the BSBF 2021, and is our last speaker. So, Caterina, the floor is yours. Go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jorge, for the invitation, and it's a pleasure to be in this group so I am talking of a league, as you said. It's different from what we've been hearing up to now, where all singular institutions were presented. I am representing a group of institutions. We are up to 19 facilities in 16 different labs. And these facilities are the accelerator-based photon sources. It means synchrotron radiation and FELs in Europe. So we are really a huge community, not only in the number of members, but in the number of users. We are serving dozens of thousands of users from all Europe and beyond. We have up to, summing up all our operating station, sums to more than 300, which means that we are offering per year more than almost 1 million of hours per year. So it's a powerful tool for research in Europe, and it's a powerful tool for research from the academy to the industrial world. And just to mention some of our activity, LEAPS started to be an organization a few years ago. We are just at the beginning of this more concrete collaboration tool. We were always collaborating from the very beginning of the synchrotrons in Europe, of course, have been collaborating among themselves. But since 2017, we have started to build up a more structured collaboration, and also to understand how we can sum up our capacities, our synergies, our specializations. This is just an example of some of the documents we have been preparing. You can find all the information on the LIPS web page, but we are dealing with tackling the major challenges that Europe and the society and the world are facing. And we are not only working among ourselves, but we are also recently worked together with the other analytical facilities of Europe. This means that we are working together with a group of more than 100, 120 European research infrastructures. And there are 2 position papers lately published in our webpage, which are the position paper of the ARIE. ARIE stands for Analytical Research Infrastructure of Europe. And the answer of this arise to the missions of Horizon Europe, and then to the problem that is the world is facing, that is viral and microbial threats also for the future. So the important thing is that we are complementary, and we are complementing among the LIPS, and we are complementing also the other research infrastructures. And just to show one example, which is also the example that all of us are looking forward to advance in the solution of what is the pandemic that we are all suffering from, and is some of few of the experiments that have been done in the LIPS facilities already from the very beginning, even if during the period of the lockdown from March to April to and so on, all our facilities were opening quick access and doing all the effort to have the facility in operation to give the answer to the COVID-19 research. So this is the main reason, of course, of the facilities is the science and the answering to solving problems, and the facility are the staff in the facilities are from scientists to engineers, technicians, administration, and there is a strong link with the industries, of course. With the industry, which is needed to build up the facility, and then there is the technological transfer and the development due to this, as was also explained very well by the previous speakers, to develop the science driving industry. And then as instruments, we are also instruments for users, as industry as users. And so this is the whole picture of how we are linked continually every day from the very beginning of our construction period to the last result of our scientific experiments together with the industry. And now, what is the status of LIPS? I want to do just a very short introduction what the synchrotron radiation facilities are. The synchrotron radiation started in the 60s, and we are now at the end of the 3rd generation of this kind of facilities. And the leap from one generation to the other is defined by the brilliance. That is the characteristics of the photon source that are produced. And we are now at the beginning of the 4th generation. And this is a very important point for the industry. The 4th generation started during this century, and there are already 4th generation facilities, the brand new ones like Max 4 or like Sirius in Brazil, and there are others like SRF, which was mentioned before, which have done the jump from 3rd to 4th generation. And this is something that is being done from almost all the synchrotrons that are a 3rd generation facility. And among these is also ALBA, but there are Soleil, Electra, Diamond, and so on. And what does it mean from the technological point of view, this change? The change goes to make a much brilliant photon source, which means which comes from making a much smaller electron beam inside the solar rings. This means that we have to modify all the arcs, which means at least 50%, if not more, of the whole accelerator to a new structure with new magnets, new vacuum chambers, new diagnostics. That means a lot of new technologies, a lot of interaction with the industry. And in one of the documents of LIPS, you can find this LIPS landscape document, which is public. You can find which are the plans. This was a document done more than 1 year ago, and of course plans evolve, but this was the situation 1 year ago, where you can see the plans of update, of upgrades of all the synchrotrons, where there is on the right, you can see the list of the synchrotrons that are, whose upgrade programs are already approved, few of them, or in the period of approval for some of them, but all of them working already on the needs for on the technology for this upgrade. And there are also the free electron lasers. Here, you always from the same document, where you can find also the plans for development of these facilities, which, as I said before, is almost 20 facilities in continuous evolution and in continuous need of new instrumentation and new technology. There is a long list of technologies. I have here several slides. I will be very fast also because I am the last speakers. But of course, one of the main points are the magnets. We are talking of new magnets with much smaller dimensions, more compact, which with high gradients, mainly the multiple ones. And here are some examples with high stability. And here comes, for example, the need of very precise precision girders. I have here the example of ESRF, but you can see that there are designs in all our facilities on the part of the magnet that will be or normal conductive or permanent magnets or hybrid technologies. Another important part, of course, is the insertion device and all the related systems. Also here, we are working in development of superconducting undulators, permanent magnet technology, and hybrid technologies. RF cavities is also another important element, of course, of synchrotrons and also of Linux. Here there is an example on the right. There is the design of the Albert third harmonic cavity that we are designing, that will be, we will do the procurement of several pieces of this kind of RF cavity. And we are in collaboration also with Petra and BC3, who will use the same design. So this is one of the things that LIPS is helping. You do a design and then you share with the others, and then when you do the procurement also you can have optimization from the point of view of the cost effectiveness. Vacuum chambers, all the vacuum technology is essential. When we talk of upgrading the accelerators, we are changing a big part of all the vacuum chambers. And since the vacuum chambers are smaller, the new technology, like for example, the neck coating technology, is one of the need of this new generation. Diagnostics, of course, is another important part, and developing new diagnostic for ensuring a larger stability and more precision for this nano beam is an important part. That the designs are developed in the facilities, but then we need hundreds of these devices for any new accelerator. And then comes the part corresponding to the beam lines. After I've been talking of the upgrade of the accelerator, which makes the better source, but then we have to profit of this better source. And therefore, everything which comes from the source up to the sample of the experiment is to be developed, is to be upgraded. You have seen in ESRF, they have new beam lines, but they have been upgrading the old beam lines. And this is the general, what all the synchrotrons that are running are doing the future. So we are developing new optics, new end stations, and upgrading the ones that we have already in operation. Detectors is one of the most important parts, because to profit of these high brilliance, you need a new generation of detectors. And this is something that is also going on, pushing the capacity of the detectors in terms of resolution and in terms of speed. And I want to mention here, we are in LIPS, we have submitted a call, a proposal to a call, one of the latest call of Horizon 2020, which is called LIPS Innov, where many of these technology that have just been mentioned will be developed through a strong collaboration with the industry. There are already partners in this proposal from industry, but of course it's something that will be a very important example of how the facilities work together for developing technologies and together also with industry. So stay tuned on that, because towards the end of October, there will be the decision. We hope that it will be approved by the European Commission. And I just want to mention, I have, there are 20 facilities. I put 20 because we have 19 facilities plus one associate facility, which is Sesame, the synchrotron in Jordan. And all of them I could make a presentation for hours. I have chosen few of them. This is Sesame. Sesame is doing new beamlines, and it's very important that industries collaborate with Sesame, which is not only a synchrotron for science, but it's also a synchrotron for peace. And another evolution of LIPS is what we call Digital LIPS, a program for the future, in which we want to develop the tools for bigger digitalization of our facilities, from the operation to the user services. We have seen during this period that we had to change our way of working with the user, because the travel was not allowed. So we have moved to a more digital way of operating the facilities with the users at home, and we developing our tools to give to do the experiments. But this can be also developed in the future. It's something that we have is good for learning, that we can also develop optimization of our facilities in order to diminish in the future, when it will be possible, the users traveling. And therefore that will go with a better specialization of the facility. And also here we will need the industry to help developing this technology. And among the facilities I've been talking, there are also brand new projects. And this is another example I want to mention. In Frascati, they are building a new lab, is what is called EUPraxia, and it will be the first user facility, the first FEL based on plasma acceleration. So they are in the stage of design, but in the procurement stage, the procurement stage of the bidding, for example, we start very soon. So go to the webpage of INFA Frascati, where you will see what you will need to know about this new project, which is very interesting, because, as you know, FEL are based on Linux. Linux are based on RF cavities, and here the idea is to accelerate instead that with RF with the plasma, which makes the acceleration, the Linux, much compact and much powerful. And where to find information on call for tenders? I cannot give you one link. There are many links. You have to go to LIPS, and in LIPS you will find then the links to all the facilities, and from there you will go in each facility, of course, has to follow the legislation in force in the corresponding country. I have put here the example of ALBA. You can go to the contractor profile. You will find the link, this current contractor profile access, and there you will find the information. In this moment, Alba, for example, we are building new bill lines. We are, two of them will be open next year. They are almost finished. There are a few things still to be added, but we have 3 more in construction. Therefore, we have several procurement going on. Please contact us for the details. So LEAPS meets industry, from the accelerator through the buildings to the high precision mechanism, mechanics, end station, detectors.
Caterina, you have one minute left. Okay.
I'm finishing. And the funding contribution from this period for LEAPS, round numbers, is estimated to be around 500 million euros, and which summed up to the other regular investment sums to the order of 1 billion. So we are waiting for, we are in contact with you, and please, any question you want to do, you can go to the LEAPS webpage. And that's all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Caterina. Thank you very much for your presentation. I have myself one question. Would you please elaborate a little bit more about what is the role of LEAPS with regards the common procurements? Are the procurements going to be done by LEAPS or by each of your members, but coordinated by LEAPS? Elaborate a little bit more on that. Yes. Thank you.
In this moment, LEAPS is not a legal entity, and as such cannot do the procurement. In this moment, what we are doing is each of the member is doing the procurement by itself. So, of course, there are some discussion on what will happen in the future, and that could be an evolution. But at this moment, also, we are, each of us is doing the procurement for its own facility.
Okay, thank you. Belén, do we have any questions for Caterina?
No, no so far. So thank you very much, Caterina. It seems your presentation has been very clear. No questions received for you.
It's almost time for lunch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, Caterina, for your availability and for your presentation. It has been very, very nice. LEAPS is a very interesting initiative, combining efforts from different countries and different facilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jorge.
Now we come to the conclusion of our day. It's we are nearly on time, like a Spanish Swiss watch. Tomorrow we will have the second day. Tomorrow we'll have EMBL, ESA, ISO, EST, Fusion for Energy, MYRRHA, and the SKAO organization. Thank you to all the speakers for their availability, for their presentations. It has been a great day. And thank you also for the participants for really interacting with us with the Slido tool. Tomorrow we will have more carousel Slido pools. So tomorrow you will have the possibility to interact more with us through this tool. And so that's all for today. Thank you very much again to the speakers. Just to clarify, all presentation will be on the registration webpage available when we will receive all of them. Hopefully from tomorrow late afternoon on. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope this was very interesting for you. And see you tomorrow morning at 9:30. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Jorge. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.